Tech for ID.
Tech for ID.
Tech for ID.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for everyone.
Technology for everyone.
Technology for everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another live Tech Talk session by Tech for ID. And today I'm going to be your host. I'm Intan. We're very happy to be here. And as usual, Tech for ID is bringing us the best speaker around the world to share about technology. And yeah, we are ready to learn today with Miss Cecilia Wong. She is the founder of Your PR Strategist and managing partner of Signify Singapore. We would love to say hi to Miss Cecilia Wong. Hello, Miss Cecilia.
Hello, Intan. Thank you so much for having me. It's really, really great to join you on this talk.
We are very, very delighted for you to be here. So yeah, we're so excited to learn a lot from you. So yeah, the audience, if you guys today have any questions or any comments, and if you want to talk to Miss Cecilia, just drop anything down below on the comment section and I will read it for you and Miss Cecilia will be happily talk to you. All right, so today we are going to talk about blockchain as the mechanics of truth. But before that, Miss Cecilia, would you please give us a little bit of introduction of yourself because we really want to know more about you.
Oh, okay. Well, I do PR in the blockchain and the cryptocurrency space. I recently also joined Signify, which is a China-based blockchain PR company. I believe they also do the other technologies, the other emerging technologies of like AI, like 5G, all of the rest of it. So they cover like a broad spectrum of technologies. At my boutique consultancy, we also cover these emerging technologies, but I would say that most of our clients come from the blockchain and crypto space.
Ah, interesting. All right, so shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's rock and roll.
Rock and roll. So first of all, we would love to ask, like, what is consensus in blockchain?
Consensus in blockchain. Let's define what blockchain is first, because then we'll talk about consensus in blockchain. We all know, of course, that blockchain is a decentralized peer-to-peer network system, and there is no central authority figure in this kind of a system. So this is a system designed to prevent corruption from a single source. However, as we shall see later, this leaves some core problems that are unsolved. Like, for example, how are decisions made, right? If there's no central authority figure to make the decisions, how do we make any decisions? How do we get anything done in such a decentralized P2P system? So yeah, we're gonna get into that. I mean, usually we are used to centralized organizations where all the decisions are made by the leader or by a board of decision makers, right? That's like what we normally are used to. But in blockchain, this is not possible because there is no leader to make decisions. The blockchain needs to come to what we call a consensus. In other words, an agreement using mechanisms, which we call consensus mechanisms, which are the methods by which the decision making is achieved. So basically, consensus is a dynamic way of reaching agreement in a group. Usually in voting, the majority wins, right? And
Yes.
the well-being of the minority is not considered. But in consensus, we try to make sure that the agreement that is finally reached, right? The decision that is made is done in such a way to benefit the entire group as a whole.
Hmm. All right. So is that also what consensus mechanism hope to achieve? Like,
I mean,
all right.
basically, for a consensus mechanism, to be successful, it would have to achieve these objectives. It would have to achieve agreement, which means that there has to be basically as much agreement as possible from the group. There has to be collaboration, meaning the participants should work together to achieve a result that puts the best interests of the group first. So it's not like individual, it's more like team effort versus individual effort. Another objective that a good consensus mechanism should hope to achieve is equality, because each vote in a consensus mechanism should have equal weightage. One person's vote can't be more important than another's. Then it doesn't do the job. I suppose a last objective would be inclusivity, because we would want to include as many as possible in the group to be involved in the voting process. So this consensus mechanism should encourage active participation in the overall process. So yeah, these are what a consensus mechanism should hope to achieve.
That is very interesting. Hopefully, this can really, really encourage like major changes in our society.
Oh yeah, that's what we're all hoping.
Absolutely. And at the point, I would like to bring up a problem in reaching consensus called the Byzantine generals problem. What is it? Can you explain it simply for us?
Okay, the Byzantine generals problem. I'm sure a lot of people in this space, we've heard of this before. Every time we come across, articles about consensus, this comes up. Before Bitcoin, there were many iterations of P2P decentralized currency systems, and these failed because they weren't able to answer this big problem that we call the Byzantine generals problem, for reaching a consensus. Okay, so to explain it simply, so you imagine that there is a group of Byzantine generals and they want to attack a city. So they face two very distinct problems. Okay, like for example, the generals and their armies are very far apart. So centralized authority is impossible, which makes a coordinated attack very tough. Okay, and then the city has a huge army, and the only way that they can win is if they attack all at once. Okay, so in order to make a successful coordination for the armies on the left of the castle and the right of the castle, they need to communicate, right? They have to send messages between each other so that they're able to coordinate the attack for success. And this is where we face the problem, because a number of things could happen to the poor messenger, right? The one who is carrying the message from the right side to the left side and vice versa. For example, he could get captured, he could be compromised, he could get killed, replaced by another messenger from the city. So this would lead to the armies, right, on both sides getting a message that has been tampered with. and then they would lead to an uncoordinated attack and of course be defeated. So how does this work in blockchain, right? I mean, I was, using it in a very, very literal, I was giving you a very literal description, but how does that work in blockchain? In blockchain, this would be, I suppose, when you look at the whole chain as a huge network, right? How can you trust the entire network? Let's say you were sending someone 10 Ether from your wallet. How do you know for sure that someone in the network isn't going to tamper with it and then change that 10 Ether to 100 Ether, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's tampering that could be done, right, on the way from sender to receiver, right? So this is basically what the problem, the Byzantine generals problem refers to, okay? How we're going to basically be able to ensure trust in the network, right? To make sure that the message or whatever is sent across gets successfully from one side to the other. So yeah, on this note, actually, this reminds me also of supply chain attacks. When we have supply chain attacks on when we order hard drive, like wallets, right? Because we sometimes think that, oh, okay, we're ordering directly from the supplier, so what could go wrong? But actually, a lot of things could go wrong from the supplier to you, right? That could be any amount of tampering that happens. I actually recently learned of a wallet, 100% cold wallet, they call it, that automatically self-destructs once tampering happens. It's like a Mission Impossible type of scenario, which is pretty cool. So anyway, I think that in blockchain we kind of need something like that. Okay, but okay, I'm digressing. Okay, let's we go back to the Byzantine generals problem. As I described, okay, there could be attacks along the way and tampering, and the consensus mechanism is what we use to make sure that these things don't happen.
All right, thank you so much for explaining it.
No problem.
We learned something new today, especially me. All right, so what type of blockchain consensus mechanism are there?
In general, there are 3 consensus methods that I suppose are the most well-known. There are proof of work, POW, proof of stake, POS, and then there is the delegated proof of stake, the DPoS.
And how do these various blockchain consensus mechanisms work?
I think that most people would have heard of proof of work because that was really the first consensus mechanism for Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto, he invented this protocol, and so I'm sure many of us have heard have heard of how POW works. Yeah, POW works. So what happens is let's say what they do is this is what we actually call Bitcoin mining. So we would first of all come up with a cryptographic puzzle that the miners have to solve in order to mine a block. And this block can then be added onto the blockchain. This process requires a lot of energy and computational power because the puzzles have to be designed in a way which makes it hard and taxing on the system, so that it's like not everyone is able to. Yes.
Well, it's called mining, so it's gonna be hard, right?
Yeah. So this is a process that that when the miner solves the puzzle and they send, they present their solution to the network, and then the network will verify it. And if it's verified successfully, the block will belong to the chain. And that's how you get the blockchain, right? This is a proof of work mechanism that works, but like I said, it is extremely it takes up a lot of energy. So this is something that has been plaguing the Bitcoin network since the beginning. And oh yeah, next is the proof of stake.
Yes.
How does that work? With proof of stake, what the validators have to do is they have to lock up their coins as a stake, meaning they have to just put it there. They can't use it anymore, right? It's like a safe deposit type of thing. After that, they will start validating the blockchain. They will start validating the blocks, meaning they discover a block which they think can be added to the chain. And then they will validate it by placing a bet on it. If the block gets added on, then the validators will get a reward which is proportionate to their bet. So this is a simpler, I suppose, more resource-friendly way than doing it the proof of work way. Yeah, because in proof of work, you need to waste a lot of resources to go along with the protocol. So in proof of stake, as you can see, it's much easier, and that's why Ethereum right now is actually planning to move from proof of work to proof of stake, because yeah, they're right now in the process of doing that, just because they don't want to be more resource friendly, and increase the number of transactions as well. Right now, which is something that has been plaguing Bitcoin mining and POW.
And what about delegated proof of stake? And why do we need it?
Delegated proof of stake is actually, it is an evolution of the POS concept, the proof of stake concept. So the users. Okay, so in POS, right, as we said, the users of the network, they vote, and they actually have delegates to. Oh no, wait, hang on, let me get this right. No, okay, so the DPoS, right? DPoS actually, yes, they have users of the network vote and elect delegates. They actually elect delegates to validate the next block. So they have delegates, which are called witnesses or block producers. So using DPoS, you can vote on delegates by pooling your tokens into a staking pool and linking those to a particular delegate. So you do not physically transfer your tokens to another wallet, but instead utilize a staking service to provide a staking service provider to stake your tokens in a staking pool. So a limited number of delegates are chosen for each new block. Most of the protocols choose between 20 and 100 of delegates. Yes. So the delegates of one block might not be the delegates of the next. So elected delegates will receive the transaction fees from the validated block, and the reward is then shared with users who pulled their tokens in the successful delegates pool. So the more you stake, the higher a share of the block rewards you receive. Okay, so this is yes. So you receive the rewards, which is the tokens that come back to you, and these rewards are they are shared based on each user's stake. So if your stake represents, say, 5% of the total staking balance, then you would receive 5% of the block reward. So that's what DPoS is.
Thank you for the brief explanation. And for you, Like personally, which one do you prefer? Which one is better?
Well, DPOS is pretty cool. I mean, it definitely is, I would say, attractive, right? It's an attractive solution. But then, I mean, like I said, these are things that are being implemented right now. They're, doing all the trials and getting it up to speed. So I think what works in the end will be the ones that work, all right?
True.
Will be the ones that will be the best. I mean, we all know that POW works. It's just that it is so energy
consuming.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, and TOS works. Well, DPOS works, of course, and besides DPOS, there are actually newer and newer solutions actually that come up with quite a number of protocols in the space right now, and that basically what we will need to see is what's gonna work. Yeah.
All right. No.
I don't think actually there will be a perfect consensus mechanism. I think it's going to be a give and take. Like everyone's going to have some great pros and then some cons. But it is interesting to see all these newer cryptocurrencies come out with newer and newer protocols. And it's very exciting. Yeah.
It is very exciting. So now that we have talked about consensus mechanisms in blockchain, let's move on to how we can use blockchain technology in reaching truth. Perhaps you would like to tell us more about that within your industry in media.
Okay. Well, right now, I suppose in the media industry, truth is something that is very, very hotly debated. According to Statista, they have like gathered like all these data, through all their surveys. And I remember reading that the latest statistic for adults in the U.S. Who feel that the news media was trustworthy only reached 29%. I mean, that's pretty low.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's news to me.
I mean, that means that 29% of adults only 29% think that the news media is trustworthy. So the other 71% actually do not trust what they see in media. I think that this is something that has been happening, and this whole situation has become worse and worse, probably in recent years, because in the past it wasn't really like that. People believed like what they read in the news media or watched on television, but this trend, I would say, is different across different territories. There are like I think if I remember correctly, there were more people in the European territories, especially the Nordic ones, I think, who believed news media. I think it was like in the region of like 50, 60 something percent. Yeah, so the 29% statistic is very low, but it's not uniform across all the other countries. Yeah, different countries, different territories have different statistics.
Indeed. So in regard of the topic of the session, right? What would be truth?
You mean like what's
yes,
the meaning of truth?
Yes, like the definition, like,
Okay.
What is truth?
Okay. This is something, like I said, that is hotly debated, not only in the news. I would say that in general, everyone would have a different definition of truth. What has come to be categorized, I suppose, truth has come to be categorized in terms of absolute truth which refers to something that is true at all times in all places, no matter the circumstances. It's a fact that cannot be changed, right? So absolute truth would refer to that. And then this is I think something that I suppose religions across the world, they more or less they're preaching a sort of absolute truth. And then there is what we call the relative truth, where okay, so this is where a degree of relativity is applied, and we talk about subjective truths, like what's true to someone might not be true to someone else. Like for example, the life of, let's say, a Southeast Asian blue collar worker. Okay, his truth would be different from, let's say, a white collar maybe American or Canadian worker. They would have different truths because they have a different environment, and they're in different situation, so their truths would be different. I mean, this is what I would okay. I would say that relative truths also would pertain to, I suppose, relative subjective truths would pertain also to and like your immediate situations and things like that. So it's quite wide, I would say, this whole field.
Yes, like it is quite philosophical too. So I'm kind of sorry to ask that.
Oh,
But
no,
yeah.
that's totally cool, because when you talk about the truth, I mean, absolutely, it touches on philosophy. Definitely does. Philosophers have been pondering this question and debating this topic, this subject for decades, no, centuries. Sorry.
Yes. So how is that truth universally unified and accepted?
Well, right now, truth is not universally accepted, right? There is a lot of debate about it. People are not accepting one version of truth, and there is consistently a fight, I would say. There is a battle for what is the truth right now, and there are many interest groups at work to push their truth forward as the most important truth. So at the moment, there is no unifying truth, unless you're talking about very, very self-evident facts like, oh, okay, the sun rises from
Yes.
from the east to the west.
Yes.
A circle has no sharp corners, things like that. No, those would be universally accepted truths. But other than that, I would say that everything else is now like being fought over.
Yeah. Is this condition like something that is called as post-truth society? Or is it different?
So post-truth society is what we refer to basically, actually, now we are living in a post-truth society. And what does that mean? Okay, that basically relates to or denotes circumstances in which objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. And we saw a lot of that actually in 2020. In the U.S. elections, there were a lot of instances when that happened, when basically objective facts were not important anymore, and it was actually the appeals to emotion and appeals to what people believed personally that shaped public opinion. We saw that a lot actually in the 2020 US elections.
Yes, that is an incredible example. Like it's just there. So, what is the role of media in the concept of post-truth society?
The role of media. The role of media is really to be as objective as possible. I mean, I believe it is the responsibility of media to report, facts, and then let the readers form opinions based on the facts that they've reported. And I would say that this is something that hasn't been happening as much since being a post-truth society has kind of like taken over, has taken over society. Like people are now like basing their truths on their emotions. Okay, so let's come back to the media. The media has a responsibility to not play into that. They have a responsibility to report as factually as possible. But of course, I would say that because there's so much complexity and there are so many different sources coming out with so much different types of information, and then there's also misinformation right now that permeates society. There are actual groups that plan to put out false information just to influence public opinions. So this has become a very, very complicated and difficult to solve problem in society right now.
All right. So how blockchain can help like a mechanism of truth? How can it be a mechanism of truth?
Well, I mean, I explained earlier on, the reason why we're positing blockchain as a solution for truth is because blockchain has a mechanism, that we've explored, just a consensus mechanism that is, first of all, decentralized. So we're not depending on a centralized authority to say, hey, this is the truth, this is lies, and those are what's true, and you've got to believe this version of what we give out to you. We don't have a centralized authority doing that. With blockchain, because it's decentralized, we can trust it more. We can trust a decentralized peer-to-peer system much better in the way they can manage accuracy in data and in truth. So that's the reason why I'm positing that blockchain used in verifying data as which helps in verifying truth is very, very useful right now. In a postmodern world, in a post-truth society where truth is right now so hotly debated, and it's so I would say difficult to ascertain.
Yeah, so that's really, really true. And how can blockchain as a mechanism of truth be applied on our daily lives?
In our daily lives, I suppose as we adopt blockchain in more and more user cases, at some point, it already does. It's already used for some people in their daily lives. One good example would be cryptocurrency traders, right? They are using a system that relies on blockchain technology, a tokenization and all of that, right? they are so in finance, I would say that blockchain has probably been used as that's the first use case of blockchain really in finance, the first and the most successful use case. So that would be number one, I think, financial. And then now, in terms of, like I would say, supply chain is another one. It's another a very, very important use case that we've seen for blockchain. And this is something that I don't know if you call it daily lives, I don't know if you call it using it in our daily lives, but I would say enterprise, yes, as an enterprise blockchain solution, definitely, yes, because lots of enterprises are using the technology to help them in terms of getting a more efficient supply chain system. So this is another way that blockchain has been successfully implemented in some cases, not in a lot. I think there will be more and more successful use cases in supply chain. And then, of course, as we've been, discussing, the use of blockchain in verifying truth, right? Like I said, we need to make sure that truth is first of all the input, okay, the input of truth, right? Like on let's say input of data onto a blockchain, it has to be done in such a way that only true information is input, right? Because once it's input on the blockchain, it stays there. So lies can also be input on the blockchain. You know what I'm saying? Inaccurate data can also be input on the blockchain. So the starting point, I would say, this is an actually obvious point of vulnerability, located the entry point of data when the actual information is being fed into the blockchain. But okay, once that data has entered the blockchain, because the blockchain is designed to be immutable, and the data also cannot be deleted, right? It has to just stay there.
It stays there.
Yes, forever. Forever. So I would say that this is the next best thing, right? It's the next best thing you can get. At least you have that record, right? That you can't tamper with. Okay. The only thing that we have to really improve on is the entry point of the data.
All right. Also, since media is easy to tamper in today's digital age, right? Does it conflict directly with the truth? What do you think?
Well, definitely, I would say that the media right now, they have a responsibility really to ensure that truth is being, well, at least objectivity. Okay, let's not talk about truth. Okay, at least, objectivity has to be there when they start to report their news. They I would say that right now there are actually different ways that they can actually. I think there are blockchain systems actually in dealing with media. I think there was something called Civil, CIVIL. They were actually a platform that was trying to use blockchain technology to ensure that we have data integrity. So there are different ones. There's like Modax. So there are actually, I would say, solutions coming on right now in the space, which will be providing important ways for us to verify data in media.
Wow, that is very interesting and pretty revolutionary, if I can say, because like with the fact that only 39%, if I'm not mistaken,
29.
sorry, 29% of trust to media. Hopefully this can make it better, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
what do you think would stop blockchain being a mechanism of truth?
What would stop it to
Yeah.
be a mechanism of truth? If people don't want to use it, I suppose. I suppose proponents against blockchain. No, I would say people who proponents of blockchain definitely see the value of using this technology to, like I said, ascertain data integrity, to ensure that what we have is tamper-proof. But if there are groups that do not want this, then I suppose they would stop blockchain being
True.
used, right, as a either they would do that, or they would affect the entry point of data,
Yeah.
make sure that where data enters the blockchain, it's inaccurate and it's false. Then, of course, the blockchain will be carrying a false record, which, that's not what people generally want. I mean, people generally want the truth, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if people don't want to tell other people the truth, okay, let's say someone lies.
Mhm.
They want other people to tell them the truth.
Yes. Yes.
So in general, people want the truth. Yeah.
People want to receive truth.
Yes. Totally. They want to have access to the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, there are some audience here saying hi.
Oh.
Halo, Wilan hadir, Jambi hadir. Oh, it's from all across Indonesia.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, if for the audience, if you guys want to drop any questions or anything, just drop it down below. All right. So which important actors or groups use blockchain as mechanism of truth? Like, do you know what are their experiences is?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
So which important actors, such as like probably government or maybe the enterprises, like that they are using blockchain as a mechanism of truth?
Like I said, that are you talking about the like media platforms?
Mm-hmm. It can be anything, like any actor, like who are using this as like to find truth.
Okay. For truth, I think it's right now, I would say mostly the media platforms that are looking for like veracity, for truth in data. Other kinds of platforms, like I would say, let's say supply chain, like in terms of supply chain and all or financial types of platforms, they would use blockchain technology for their particular industry and their particular platforms objectives. Okay, let's say, for example, what we talked about in finance, right? In finance, they're using blockchain technology for the tokenization, right? Because it's a token economy that they're building. Things are fractionalized. They're put into tokens, and then there's a decentralized system that manages it. So, and then for supply chain, it's another system again. But I don't think that these systems are necessarily looking for overall truth. It's just what helps their particular industry. Okay, so in media, I would say though, it would be the industry I see as if they are using blockchain for truth, it would be the media industry that has to use it. Wait, sorry. I would say also that belief systems, you know, like religions, I would say religions. Why not include blockchain to really ascertain the truthfulness of a particular religion? And in this way, I would say that for this particular purpose, right, it would be really helpful, actually. I mean, imagine if years ago we had blockchain technology and you could put all the holy texts, right, on the blockchain. I mean, imagine if that happened, like over the years, there would be so many fewer wars.
Yes, that is actually true. Wow.
I
That
mean,
is very interesting.
yeah, because I think that a lot of wars happened because of differences in interpretation, and a lot of that also came about because of inaccuracies when all these holy texts were, you know, like written down and recorded by the scribes, right? A lot of mistakes happen along the way, and then, you know, sometimes mistakes are copied down to the next generation of scribes, and then they copy the next mistake down. So then you'll see that in different like groups of scribes in different regions, they might have like a different text at some point, and you know, they start arguing over, oh, we have the most accurate version, and whatever, and then the other side's arguing, you know, no, we have the so, you know, imagine if we had, you know, blockchain technology and we have it now. So this is actually a good time. This is actually a good time to use a technology such as blockchain to start preserving our truths.
Thank you so much for pointing it out to the, you know, to the world right now. So, can blockchain as mechanism of truth be applied in court or other judicial system? What do you think?
I think definitely it can be used in court. Right now, okay, in court, there is what we call an original writing rule. Okay, what this means is it prioritizes originals over copies in courts. So if you had an original birth certificate as opposed to, let's say, a copy of a birth certificate, that original birth certificate would be considered more true, right? It's more accurate than something that you bring in as a copy. Okay, so I think that this is actually exactly what blockchain is about. I mean, right? If we put the data, which first of all, we have to take like a lot of care to ensure that that data, that at that entry point is true, is the best version we've got, right? And then we put it onto the blockchain. I think that would fit the original writing rule in court, right? So I believe that they would admit blockchain evidence in court.
It is very interesting, and I also think that that is something that's applicable.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully that will bring something in the future.
yeah. No, I think that the world is actually becoming, in terms of technology anyway, I think that we are coming up with a lot of technologies that are really becoming more and more helpful to us, you know, in like I said, for you know, ascertaining truth, and but at the same time, okay, I'm saying this, but on the other hand, we also have a lot of technology that is going in the opposite direction. I'm sure you know about you know, deep fakes in AI. I'm sure you've heard of that. like in when people are able to come up with like very, very realistic but fake videos or
Oh, yes.
things like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So all this kind of stuff, yes, also happens, right? It also happens with the help of technology. So I would say technology is kind of like a two-edged sword, right? It's like a
That's
good,
right.
but it's got. I mean, I think that at the really at the very, very base of it, we really all need to make sure that ethics is applied for every kind of technology that we're
That's right.
using.
That is a very important point right there.
Thank you.
So what can we achieve as a society or even as civilization if we can use this method in our lives to have like truth gitu?
What can we achieve?
Yeah, like
I think we would definitely be able to we would be able to reach more I suppose consensus amongst different groups of communities and societies. People would be able to trust each other more because they'll know that they can depend on that technology to be able to access truth. So they would be able to trust the other party more, right? It's a trustless technology. So there will be more peace, less wars, I think, right? And
hopefully.
less disputes, hopefully in court, right? People would stop arguing over, what data was accurate or what was not. If they had it already recorded on the blockchain, because that data is then immutable and is tamper-proof, and you can't just change it as and when. So I would say, in general, we will have a more peaceful society, less fights, we were able to trust each other more.
That is very inspiring, honestly. So yeah, I think it's time for everyone to start looking at blockchain as this mechanism of truth.
Yes.
And by the way, are there any downsides to this method?
Well, like I said, the downside is really at the data point of entry right now.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you put in a inaccurate, false version of data, of information, that stays on the blockchain, and it's the version that carries down. So I would say that this is something that we will need to improve on and ensure like that part of the technology is covered.
All right, so for anyone who are interested, right, with blockchain as mechanism of truth, do you have like recommendations of articles or maybe books or whatever, or like anything that can be accessible for people?
Actually, I think that there might be material on this. It's just that I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think that there are actually some. I'm sure if we Google, blockchain being used for truth or something, I recall reading or seeing something that went along the lines. The title was something like blockchain as truth technology. I remember seeing that actually sometime last year, and so that might be a good I mean, that might be a good search to do. Yeah, blockchain as truth. And also, like I said earlier on, there are platforms. I mentioned Civil, CIVIL. They are a media platform actually that are working to verify information, to verify truths. I don't know if they're still doing that on their platform, because recently I also heard that they have joined up with Consensus. instead of being an independent platform, I think they've actually joined up with Consensus and they have some kind of a collaboration. But I believe it's also working towards the same types of truth verification solutions and things like that.
Thank you so much for the info and pointers, by the way. So do you have any hope or maybe like some things that you want to say to the audience?
What do I want to say to the audience? Well, I would say that right now we are at a point in time where we can actually make use of these very innovative technologies to achieve things that we wouldn't have been able to centuries ago, even decades ago. And so we're at a very, very, I would say, unprecedented and privileged time in history. And we really need to be able to ensure that we make use of these technologies in the best ways possible, because I think I mentioned earlier, ethics will be a very, very important consideration as we move forward with technology, because as we can see, technology can be used for good, it can be used for evil. Yeah, so yeah, we're able to now access very powerful, very widespread, all-encompassing technologies, and we really need to make sure that we are using these kinds of technologies for the good of communities in the best ways possible. And yeah, really, really take that responsibility. What's that saying? With great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yes, that's right.
Spider-Man.
All right, Miss Cecilia, thank you so much for the interview today. It has been very pleasurable to be able to learn from you. We learned a lot, and yeah, even our audience are saying hi to you. So yeah.
Hi to everyone. Well, I am so glad that you asked me to come on and like talk about this, because this is a subject that I think is very interesting, and for me personally, but I feel that it's an interesting subject for anyone, right? It's an interesting subject for anyone who wants to reach towards the better understanding of the world, of themselves, of other people, their fellow men, so
Indeed. So, and like, I think you have been giving us very important insights, not only like for people as individual, but also as a whole society. So I think, we cannot thank you enough for this. We're very happy.
Well, thank you so much, Indan. You've been an amazing host, okay? Making me feel so comfortable.
Thank you so much. All right, Miss Cecilia, before we end the session, we would love to ask you to say our tagline. So our tagline is Tech for ID, technology for Indonesia, technology for everyone.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Tech for ID, technology for Indonesia, technology for everyone.
Thank you so much. That is amazing. All right, everyone.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for everyone who has been tuning in. So yeah, let's see. Maybe we can have like another meetings and another live tech talk session. So yeah.
Perfect. Cool. I will be looking forward to it in time.
Absolutely. All right. I'll see you guys, and I'll see you in another time, Mrs. Leah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.